Hi there, Kelvin Holiday here, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about leadership and leverage as a part of the Unleash Your Business program. When we talk about leadership and leverage, this is something that I've had 30 years experience in leading people and leading teams from as little as 1 and 2 through to over 170 people in the one organisation. I've also been able to help a lot of different organisations to be able to increase their teams into the thousands. So some of the strategies we're going to learn in here is how to build a quality team, to get the culture, productivity, and also to understand sometimes when we need to outsource instead of actually having it as an in-house team. So let me just start with the idea of culture and what we're going to cover in this leadership and leverage section. Culture is really the rock in which we build our businesses. If we can get that culture right and understand where it's going, we will actually have a solid foundation. And so the first part of that foundation is to get your thinking right, to get your mindset in the right space. Now, if you're going to have a growing, thriving business that's going to totally unleash the awesome that's within you and all those dreams and aspirations you have, you need to move away from a fixed mindset, past a growth mindset, which is where most people talk about, to where I call a transformational mindset, where you are an absolute influencer within your team and within your community that you're working with, within all your clients. So the first thing we're going to be challenging you with is around how do you get your mind to think a little bit bigger or a lot bigger? How do we build a culture within your team where your team is on fire 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all they're doing is looking forward to coming to work? Wouldn't that be cool? It's what I've been able to do in many of the businesses I've worked in, and also within the transformational group we've got now. It's a major part of your culture to understand as well what the people in your business are about, how they think, how they act. Now, there's a number of different tools around. There's things like Myers-Briggs and DISC, different personality profiles. Where I find those different personality profiles fall down a little is not in identifying a person's personality. That's great. But how many of each do you actually put in a team? What's the mix look like? So what are we going to be covering off within leadership and leverage is not just about getting the right culture, but understanding how to put a team together to have the right number of personalities in the room at the right time, to deal with the conflicts that are inevitably going to happen when you have people working together. I call them apes and saints. Sometimes we have people who just like to swing from the chandeliers, and we have people who want to hold us back and get all the detail right. And those two people groups get in conflict so often. So we want to actually make sure we get those things right. We also want to think, when we talk about culture and think about how people work and act, is understand we've got two sides of our brain. So when we start to set goals for people, some people are going to be very analytical, some people are going to be very creative. And so when we actually start to think about productivity, we need to understand that people work differently. And so we've got to have a creative part as well as a process part and an analytical part within our productivity model. That's a part of culture, and it also moves us into the second part I want to talk about today, and that is your productivity. Productivity, if you get the right understanding in your culture, now it's up to getting all the right systems in place as far as productivity is concerned. Knowing the right tools, knowing the right ways in which to apply them, and there are so many on the market, which ones to pick. And so we're going to help you to pick the right one for your business. And sometimes that might change, and how to actually make that decision of when it's time to change. Things like CRMs, client relationship management systems, project management software. How do you actually do automatic bookings online? Where do we store all our data? How do we actually go between Google and Office 365, for instance? Where do we store our information? These are all productivity questions, and we're going to show you some of the best ways around to be able to get your productivity through the roof. Many people have asked me, how in the heck, Kel, do you get so much done? Well, it's because I use technology where technology is good. I use people where people are good. And I use my mind just to be able to navigate between where it is. I have that transformational mindset to make sure that people are the key to our business, and the applications is what makes it easier for people, not complicated. You don't want to have thousands of applications and everybody confused which one to use. It's about choosing the right ones for you. And a part of this productivity section is going to be about what are those ones that are right for you and how do we use them to build systems that can reproduce things so you get exactly the right outcome every single time. I know myself, I've led an RTO, registered training organisation, for many, many years. And there's the compliance and the regulations and the governance around that is astronomical. It is the most highly regulated business there is, not just in Australia, but I believe in the world as far as compliance. And if you get something wrong, you actually lose your license. So if we've been able to manage it within that environment and win awards for it, I think for any business we've got you covered. So productivity and getting the right systems in place is going to be a major thing. Also understanding you've got a true north. Where are you actually going and what does it need to look like? So you get all your goals set, everything done right, and you get your productivity in place. Know which systems, what you need to do, and when you need to do them. Also, when to delegate. When to do it to a team member, when to delegate a task to somebody local or somebody in an overseas office. And the reality is if you've got the right systems in place, you'll be able to do that with ease. So how do you actually delegate with some sort of level of reassurance that things are going to stay right and that you get the right application and the wisdom and knowledge is passed on 100% accurately every single time? There's a saying that a good friend of mine, Dale Beaumont, says all the time. He says, if you've got to do something more than once, build a system. And so true. Every time you actually do something a second, third, fourth time, you've just wasted a whole bunch of time. If you're doing it as a business owner, you need to be able to get that system into somebody else's hands who doesn't cost as much of time and money as you. You need to be working on your business rather than in your business. You've heard this said so many times. And a part of this program, we're going to be showing you how to outsource and build systems that will make it happen. One of the gifts we are going to give you is 50 ready-built systems that is going to totally unleash your business from day one. We're not just going to give you the systems, we are going to give you some outsourced teams to be able to help you get it done. That's how we're going to fast track you through this program and get everything done within 90 days. 90 days. Can you imagine going from where you are now within 90 days, having all your systems built, everything done for you, and now all you've got to do is actually think what's next. I hope this has given you a bit of an insight into what it is to be a real leader, a transformational leader, and to have leadership and leverage right within your business. If you're going to unleash your awesome and unleash everything you have within your business, it's time to make a decision. If you've got any further questions, please drop them down, note them back to us. All right, book a strategy call now so you can fully comprehend what this will do for you to give you back your life and to build a business that you've always dreamt about. I look forward to talking to you soon.